Speaker's muted.
You there?
Oh, why is it muted?
Maybe that's off.
On
Try that. Try clicking on the. Aha, it's coming up.
video.
It's muted the sound.
Let's turn this up. Oh. Okay, I can hear you full volume.
I can't see what it looks like. I haven't got video.
Very happy to see my face not appearing.
Okay.
Okay. Hang on, guys. We have
I'm being harassed.
Sorry about this.
No problem.
Can I be seen?
Wait a minute. The sound's down.
Anything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you
I
do it.
tried to
Oh
do
my
it.
gosh.
Won't go on.
This.
I know. But it's already 100 freaking this.
There you go.
Oh! I'm so done. Right, how do I move the screen around to...
Please. Here.
Oh, okay. Do I start now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Start.
Can you introduce yourself and say what you do?
Hi, my name's Jaqueline. I am a full-time wedding stationery designer, but I also am a published author. I published my first book last year. And I'm in Nottingham.
Of course. How did you start out before you started writing? How did life start out before you started writing?
What do you mean? Sorry. Do you mean what did I do before?
Yeah.
Various things, but the business that I have is in the wedding industry, and I've had children and family and that sort of thing beforehand as well. So writing's always been something I've done sort of as part of my life. I just never did anything with it until I published my book last year.
Okay then. How did you come to write your first book and then 3 more?
No, I've only written one book.
Oh, I was told there'll be 3.
Oh, I know what that is. That's okay. That's because it was Cassie originally.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
yeah.
That's fine. Yes. No, that's fine.
Of course.
Yeah. So, I've always kept diaries and journals and written things, and I read a book that inspired me to. It talks about following really what you feel inspired to do and what comes naturally to you, which to me has always been writing. And then quite soon after that, I was put in touch with Cassandra, who coached me with my writing and helped support me and guide me through actually getting a book out of my head and onto the page, sort of thing.
Okay then. How did you cope with things like writer's block and self-doubt that might stop you writing?
So I did a lot of meditation. I had a really nice little support group of people who kept me going, and I would share my writing journey with them. And even then, on the days when I was struggling and thinking, I don't know why I'm doing this, nobody wants to hear this, it's a load of rubbish, all of that sort of stuff, they would actually encourage me and keep me going and just, tell me that they thought I was doing a brilliant job and they loved what I was writing, because I would share little snippets. So not sharing obviously everything that I'd written, but little bits and pieces, and it actually made people want to read more before I'd finished writing it. So that worked really well. And I just tried to keep a clear head all the time. I'd have a walk every morning before I started writing, so that I always started the day with a clear head.
Do you have a writing routine? What do you do to get comfortable and in the zone?
So what I would tend to do is I always used to I would kind of ask myself what I felt like writing that day, but then I would go for a walk around the park, and then do a little bit of a quiet meditation that was just kind of getting in the zone, I suppose, and clearing my mind a little bit. And then I would always set myself up with a particular mug that had like an inspirational message on it and have a cup of coffee in there. So I always had coffee. I always had a little bowl of treats, and then I would kind of like, I'd always sit in the same place and write. So it was always very much, I felt like this is my little bubble that I sit in when I'm writing. So I always had the same thing. So it kind of made a pattern. So that in my brain was going, okay, I know what you're doing now, and then the words would start to flow.
I did some research and saw that you. Oh no, actually, never mind. That's the other. That's
okay. Don't worry, that's fine.
What got you into writing? How do you think it has changed you?
I'm a lot more honest about how I feel about things now. I've always, as I say, I've always been into writing. It's always been something I've done, and it's always been something that's been quite well received. So I followed that and felt that, it really is one of the things that I feel like I'm supposed to do. The more people that read what I've got to say, the more I want to carry on writing and giving them more. So, for example, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I met her as a part of my normal business, and when she found out that I published a book, she had just asked me, "Oh, you'll have to let me know about it." And once she read the review, she was like, "I've got to read this book." So the more people that say things like that, you get like a buzz from that, and you think, I want to keep giving you things that you want to read. And people that read my book, they got to the end and they were like, "When's the next one coming out?"
I can know how that would feel.
It's amazing, yeah.
Who are your writing influencers, and what is your favourite genre to read?
I like quite a lot of different genres. I do like the sort of inspirational books that are about people that have been on similar journeys, so sort of real life ones. I like quite like crime fiction, actually. I've always quite liked crime fiction. But I'm very much inspired by Cassandra Farron, as well as Rebecca. Oh, I've forgotten her name now. Rebecca Campbell. She wrote a book called Light is the New Black, which was absolutely amazing, and that was actually what got me started properly writing and actually getting it done. So I'm always inspired by people that tell you to follow your heart, really.
Oh, cool. And final question.
Yeah.
Can you give any advice for people who want to be authors?
Yeah, I would say if it's something that you want to do and you feel it's something that you've got in you, then just kind of follow what feels right. Don't listen to the little voices in your head that sort of say, nobody needs to hear that. Nobody wants to listen, because everybody can connect with somebody, and there'll always be somebody that wants to hear what you've got to say. So don't ever be scared that what you've got to say isn't important or isn't relevant or isn't interesting. It always will mean something to somebody, and you'd be amazed how many people can take inspiration from any journey that you might have been on yourself.
Good advice. That's what I always feel.
Okay, good.
That was good. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely no problem at all. If there's anything else, just let me know. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. See you later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.